most watched news in Western Washington. King 5 News at 10:30 starts now.
A couple's visit to the nation's capital ended up saving a woman's life. King 5's Owen Lay talked with the two UW students who leaped into action while everyone else looked on.
Photos show Michelle Kleisath and Shalon Ta as tourists visiting the East Coast for an academic conference. But it was the end of their trip in Washington, D.C. that the Seattle couple will never forget.
It was really intense what happened.
Union Station near the U.S. Capitol, almost midnight, January 13th. The two UW grad students were waiting for a subway.
I heard somebody yelling, a woman screaming.
I looked down on the tracks and I saw that there was a woman kind of on her back and her face was really bloody.
The woman was disabled, her motorized wheelchair also on the tracks.
And I could see her laying there on the tracks, and I could see her actually looking at me. Like my eyes met hers.
I knew she wasn't going to die because of her injury, but I knew she could easily die if that driver didn't know that there was a person there.
So Ta ran up to get someone to stop the next train, while Kleisath made a choice to run down to the rails.
Someone has to go down there. No one's going down there. Okay, I'm going to go down there.
Eventually, the train was halted, and Kleisath convinced some bystanders to help lift the woman back up. The two say they hope the woman's okay, and then really, they don't mind moving on without the attention.
There's so many stories like this that happen every day that don't make it onto the news.
Because for a couple that's found their calling in social justice, and we're in D.C. talking about just that, all this was just the right thing to do.
I just think to myself, like, that's the only option.
In Seattle, Owen Lay, King 5 News.
The Washington Post reports the disabled woman blamed the fall on a wheelchair malfunction. The Seattle women's actions are particularly notable because 2 weeks ago, also in D.C., a man was killed by a train when he fell onto the tracks and no one helped.